Obama appeared before Rick Warren, he was asked a simple question: when does life begin? And he said at that time that it was above his pay grade. That was the essence of his question. When I asked the speaker what advice she would give him about when life begins, she said the church has struggled with this issue for a long time, especially in the last 50 years or so. Her archbishop and others across the country had a very strong refutation to her views on all of this. I guess the strongest probably came from Edward Cardinal Egan, who's the Archbishop of New York. He said, anyone who dares to defend that they may be legitimately killed because another human being chooses to do so, or for any other equally ridiculous reason, should not be providing leadership in a civilized democracy worthy of the name. Those are very strong words. If Senator Obama comes to you and says, when does life begin? Help me out here, Joe, as a Roman Catholic. What would you say to him?
I say, look, I know when it begins for me. It's a personally and private issue. For me as a Roman Catholic, I'm prepared to accept the teachings in my church. But let me tell you, there are an awful lot of people of great confessional faith, Protestants, Jews, Muslims, and others, who have a different view. They believe in God as strongly as I do. They're intensely as religious as I am religious. They believe in their faith and they believe in human life. And they have differing views as to when. I'm prepared as a matter of faith to accept that life begins at the moment of conception. But that is my judgment. For me to impose that judgment on everyone else who is equally and maybe even more devout than I am, it seems to me is inappropriate in a pluralistic society. And I know you get the pushback. Well, what about fascism? Everybody, you're going to say fascism is all right? Fascism isn't a matter of faith. No decent religious person thinks fascism is a good idea.
But if you believe that life begins at conception, and you've also voted for abortion rights.
No, what I voted against curtailing the right, criminalizing abortion. I voted against telling everyone else in the country that they have to accept my religiously based view, that it's a moment of conception. There is a debate in our church, as Cardinal Egan would acknowledge. It's existed. Back in Summa Theologica, when Thomas Aquinas wrote Summa Theologica, he said it didn't occur till quickening, 40 days after conception. How am I going out and tell you, if you or anyone else, that you must insist upon my view that is based on a matter of faith? And that's the reason I haven't. But then again, I also don't support a lot of other things. I don't support public funding. I don't, because that flips the burden. That's then telling me I have to accept a different view. This is a matter between a person's God, whether they believe in God, their doctor, and themselves, in what is always a trick. And what we're going to be spending our time doing is making sure that we reduce considerably the amount of abortions that take place by providing the care, the assistance, and the encouragement for people to be able to carry to term and to raise their children.